Welcome back to another installment on lines. Let's get started. If two lines have slopes of -5 and 1/5, which statement about the line is true? I think the idea of when two lines are perpendicular, the slopes are a negative reciprocal. So clearly, based on the two values, as you can see, the slope of one of the line is m equals -5, and you take a negative reciprocal of it, it will become m2, which will be 1/5. So clearly these two lines are perpendicular to each other. Again, we've done a similar problem, so I highly recommend you pause the video, continue working it, and then see if you got it right. So the first equation A, we don't have to do much, y equals 3x plus 17. So the slope is 3. Let's go to the second equation. -9x plus 3y equals 17. So 3y is 9x plus 17. So y equals 3x plus 17 over 3 implies the slope of this line is also 3. Let's go to line C. 6x minus 2y equals 17. -2y equals 17 minus 6x implies y equals -17 over 2 plus 3x, right? Implies the slope of this line is also 3. So all three lines must be parallel to each other, right? In other words, none of them are perpendicular to each other, right? So no two line A, B, C are perpendicular to each other because they all have a identical slope. And I think this is why I chose this problem, because in the previous case, this whole equations were modified in such a way that I think we determined that none of them were parallel to each other. So in this case, that none of them are perpendicular to each other. So it's kind of cute that we were able to show both ends of the spectrum. So in the XY plane, line L is given by the equation. If line L passes through points A, 1, what's the value of A? Okay, let's first go ahead and write this 2x minus 3y equals 5 in its appropriate slope-intercept form. So we know -3y equals 5 minus 2x, y equals -5 over 3 plus 2/3 x, right? So we know slope is 2/3, right? If line passes through points A, 1, what's the value of A? Well, what that means is that x is A and y is 1, right? So we substitute 1 equals -5/3 plus 2/3, right? Sorry, x is A, I'm sorry. This is 2/3 A. So we can do is 1 plus 5/3 equals 2/3 A, right? That means it's 8 over 3 equals 2/3 A. Because these denominators are same, 8 equals 2A, so A equals 4. Does that make sense? Very easy. All right, based on the table below, when x equals 5, y equals what? Well, first we need to figure out what is the slope. Once we know the slope, then we can substitute for x. And then we also have to determine the intercept before we can substitute for x to figure out what y is. So just pick any two ordered pairs, so -1, 3 and 0, 1. Based on this, we can determine our slope to be 1 minus 3 over 0 plus 1, which is -2 over 1, which is -2, right? So y equals -2x plus c. You can pick any one of the ordered pairs to solve for c. I'm just going to pick 0, 1. So 1 equals 0 plus c, c equals 1. Implies my straight line equation is -2x plus 1. Now, if I substitute x equals 5, I'll be able to determine the value of y when x equals 5. So y equals -10 plus 1, which is -9. So when x equals 5, y equals -9. What is the equation of a line with a negative slope that passes through the y-intercept and one x-intercept of the graph, right? It's very important that you realize that the slope is negative, because this is a very trickier problem. So first, let's say it passes through y-intercept. If it's y-intercept, that means x must be equal to 0. So if you take this equation, y equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8, and you substitute x equals 0, then y equals 8. So the line passes through 0, 8 for the y-intercept. So for the x-intercept, y must be equal to 0. That means y equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8. So 0 equals negative x squared minus 2x plus 8. This is just a quadratic equation, right? So, well, we want negative 8x squared, but then when we multiply two terms, okay, when we multiply two terms, we get negative 8x squared, but then when we add or subtract, we get negative 2x, right? What if you substitute, what if you do negative 4x times 2x? That'll give you negative 8x squared, but then when you add negative 4x and 2x, you get negative 2x, right? So x negative x squared minus 4x plus 2x plus 8 equals 0. So negative x means x minus 4 plus, sorry, x plus 4, and 2 means x plus 4. That's equal to 0. Negative x plus 2 times x plus 4 equals 0. Negative x plus 2 equals 0 implies x equals 2, right? Because this becomes negative. X plus 4 equals 0 implies x equals negative 4, right? So we have two ordered pairs here. When y is 0, we can have 2, 0 or negative 4, 0, right? So you have to take both of these. So you have to compare 0, 8 and 2, 0. And you have to compare 0, 8 and negative 4, 0. You have to use a slope equation to determine what would give you a negative slope. Only from there, you'll be actually able to determine the equation. So with this one, the slope will be 0 minus 8 over 2 minus 0. So that'll be negative 4 slope. Slope is negative 8 over negative 4. That's 2. But our slope is negative as it's indicated here. So our slope is negative 4, which implies y equals negative 4x plus 3, right? And it passes through, you can pick any one of the value, either 0, 8 or 2, 0 to solve the problem further. So I'm just going to pick 2, 0. So 0 equals negative 8 plus c. So c equals 8. So that means the equation is y equals negative 4x plus 8. I know it's a pretty lengthy problem, but it sure tests a lot of your skills because we're approaching the end of the video. So I wanted to have more challenging problems. But nevertheless, it's an easier problem. So, all right, we got two more problems to wrap up this video. What's the equation of the line that passes through points 4, 7 and 8, 10? That's very easy. So all you have to do is first use the slope equation. So we know our ordered pairs are x1, y1, x2, y2. So slope would be 10 minus 7 over 8 minus 4. 10 minus 7 is 3, 8 minus 4 is 4. So slope is 3 over 4. Y equals 3 over 4x plus c. You can substitute any one of the values to determine the intercept, so you can complete the equation. Let's just use 4, 7. So 7 equals 3 over 4 times 4 plus c. So c equals 4. Hence, the equation is y equals 3/4 x plus 4. Very easy. Well, this problem, the last problem, is very easy if you know what you're doing. So we have negative 2, 4 and 6, 2. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Just determine the slope and match the slope against the answer choices, and that's it. So 6 minus 4 over 2 plus 2. So that's 2 over 4 is 1/2. Is there a, did I make a mistake? 2 minus, oh, 2 minus 4, I'm sorry. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And 6 plus 2 is 8. Sorry, I said it's easy, and that's why I think I made a mistake. Negative 1 over 4, right? Fantastic. So which equation has a slope of negative 1, 4? It's this one. So that's the correct answer. Right. I think I have only one more video on this topic. So thank you for watching. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'll see you with the final video on the topic of lines. Until then, bye-bye.